So, if you're an expert in your industry, an expert in your field, and you're engaging online, you're putting stuff out, you're putting content out, you may hit a point where you're thinking to yourself, am I giving away too much? Am I giving away too much information online? And the fact of the matter is there isn't an easy, clear-cut, across-the-table answer to that. There's a lot of nuance to it. But I'm all about nuance. So that's what we're actually going to be discussing on today's episode of the BB&J podcast. I'm your host, John Lint, and let's get into it. So, what am I talking about here, right? You know me. I love my analogies, but let's keep it a little bit more direct, I guess, to me. The kind of things that I try to talk about, I do work to inform people. I try to address things that I think people are thinking about, right? And inform, educate, hopefully entertain every once in a while, but I won't count on it. But even then, I'm aware that I can't be giving away too much, right? So if I did a podcast that specified okay, this is your entire marketing plan for the next 5 years, and here are all the resources you need. You just plug it in and you go, and I just gave it away. Guess what? It might get good engagement, but people are going to take that and then go off and do it. Or they're going to be like, hey, they're going to go to someone else and be like, hey, can you do this for me? Or they're going to try it. It's not going to work. And then they're going to be like, oh, this John guy doesn't even know what he's talking about. He gave me this whole thing to do, and then when I did, it didn't work for me. He didn't have any additional resources. So, in conversation, there are definitely oversharers, and in content, there also are, right? So, bringing it into the regular analogies. If you have, if let's say you are a major fast food chain, right? Do you want to be talking about why your food is a cut above, right? Why people should want to come into your restaurant, right? What makes you different than the competitors? What makes you unique? What makes you you? And I think fast food chains, a lot of them do a very, very good job at that, which makes sense because they have to, appeal to a very broad audience, and they're big, they're kind of everywhere, and they kind of want to target everyone, right? And establishing that brand voice is very important, and they, like I said, a lot of them do a very good job at it. But they're going to do that. They're going to, talk about the things that they do well. They might even talk about, the work that goes into, let's say, their burgers, right? They're like, we triple sear it, and we do all this. We get, heritage onions for the to top it off, and we lightly steam our buns and potato wedges. I don't know. But you know what I mean, right? But they're not going to be like, okay, so here is exactly how we make our sandwich. You do this, you buy this from in there. You can also get it from a grocery store, like this. We use 0.5 milliliters of mayonnaise. You do all this stuff, and this is exactly what you're getting. I can promise you that will not look good. That will not lead to more business for them. At most, that's going to lead to people recreating it and being like, well, wow, why do I need to go there when I already know the whole recipe, right? They recognize, and that's why they don't do it. That's why they don't put out their recipes. Because they know that it's not actually going to really increase engagement with their people, with their audience. But B, this is the important thing. This is why you should not be just giving away everything for free. Their competitors can look at that and take it and run with it. You know, if they do a one-to-one recreation, then there might be some issue with copyright. But if they're like, oh, coriander, cumin, and cilantro, that sounds like an interesting blend. Let's bring that into ours. Well, now you just gave away the secret recipe literally to the competitors. I mean, there's literal shows, you know, SpongeBob comes to mind, where like the whole thing is not giving away the secret recipe to the competitors, right? So, as a professional, in whatever industry you're in, you have some secret sauce. You have your thing that you do really well, that makes you stand out, and that, you know, you worked hard to develop. Hold on to that, because that's valuable. That is super, super valuable. I know you'll see people, you know, like major people in the industry, like just give it away, give information freely, give all the information freely. But they say that because they know that what they have is so skilled that even if you have the whole thing, you wouldn't be able to recreate it, right? And also, there's a lot of logistics and day-to-day stuff that they don't talk about. So if you tried, you'd be missing out on all that stuff. So it's like, you know, I can look at the chemical properties of any fast food place's sauce, right? I can say, okay, so it has it's 64% carbon, it's 23% benzene, you know, this, that, and the other, right? I can totally do that breakdown. I can even trace it back to, okay, so I'm pretty sure that these, so I'm detecting some pepper, detecting this, and like this much of this and all that. But even from there, you can't necessarily reverse engineer the entire process that went into creating it, because there's all those little things that go in along the way, when it was added, how it was added, you know, what processing was done to it, that make it specifically what it is. And so you can, and you know, you want to be presenting it in a similar way. So you can show them all of the, you know, the why without going into the specifics. The specifics of what. Right? So there's an idea of an argument is, what are you talking about? So it's the what, it's the how did you come to this conclusion, right? Or how is this done? How is this accomplished? And then why is it important, right? So you might say, I went out and I interviewed 30 people, it's the what, and asked them if they preferred vanilla or chocolate ice cream. Then the what, 20 of them said they preferred chocolate, 10 of them said they preferred vanilla. Why is this important? That means that more people should consume chocolate, or like more people consume chocolate ice cream, and local restaurant places or local ice cream shops should sell more chocolate, right? But if you always construct your arguments that way, you're starting with the things that don't inspire. You're starting with things that aren't interesting. So if you start with the why and you focus on the why is this important? You know, why greater picture. Why is what you're talking about matter? And not even necessarily needing to talk about the how, because the how is a lot less important. Then you can get good results. You can get better results with your audience, because like inspiration and education really go hand in hand, right? So like a real estate place or a real estate brokerage, for example, a realtor, they're going to put out content about, they might put out content about the market. Here's that market update for this area. So they're just giving one piece of the puzzle, right? Or here is what makes this area such a great place to live in, right? But they're not saying, here's what makes it such a great place to live in, and if you want to buy a home here, here's exactly who you need to reach out to so you can just buy it directly from the homeowner, and here's what we would recommend to make the best offer specifically in this case, so you don't have to worry about, you don't have to go through us. Guess what? They just, like, that expertise which they should be leveraging to grow their business just got laid to waste. So as a brand, as a company with an online presence, as a person with an online presence, you do want to be educating your audience. You also want to be inspiring your audience, you know? So you want to be letting them know. I mean, like, why do you do a market update, for example? You do a market update to showcase, like, okay, this is the information, so maybe like, okay, so this is a good time to sell. This is a good time to buy. And now they know that they can trust you for that, and if they wanted to work with you, you would know that stuff because you're putting it out there, right? So they're not saying, okay, you call this person, you call this person, you call this person, you check out this website, and that's what we do to find out the market update, so you can do that. Well, then once again, you're saying, like, here are the tools to remove me from the equation. You don't want to do that. You know, you want to be saying, here are the resources. If you want more, you can always come back, right? So I know that's kind of a lot, but I think the moral of the story is, really know your worth. What is your skills and specialty and expertise worth? Give people information to educate and inspire and inform and entertain them and all that. But don't give away the whole thing, right? And on that note, I'd like to thank you so much for listening and or watching. If you do have any questions beyond this, as always, feel free to reach out, and I'll see you next week.